most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Welcome to the Racehour podcast in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout. This is Not Long Now, the show where we take an Ante-Post look at next month's Cheltenham Festival. I'm Rory Jiwani. With me are racing broadcaster Ed Quigley and Bet365 racing PR guru Pat Cooney. We're down to 3 this week. Gary Connolly failed the vet this morning, so just the 3 of us. But first, Pat has a big announcement to make regarding the Cheltenham Festival.
Yes, that time of the year has come, Rory and Ed. We are non-runner, no bet on all 28 races at the Cheltenham Festival. And we've still got the Ante-Post outright non-runner, all-in run or not odds alongside it. So if you're still happy going with the Ante-Post traditional way, that's there for you as well. But the big thing is non-runner, no bet on all races at Cheltenham. And I can say straight away, our old pal Constitution Hill features in just about the majority of all bets. So the love affair with him continues. But what I would say is that over the last couple of days, we've put over 1,000 horses on our site with the non-runner, no bet option. And I can't believe we've got all 1,000 right. So keep looking. There must be value elsewhere in there.
There certainly must be. And I'm sure some of our viewers, listeners will be looking for the ones that are over generously priced, shall we say. Well, we had the Dublin Racing Festival, say at the weekend. It was postponed from Saturday. That action was moved to Monday. We had some exceptional performances and some big upsets. And those have shaken up the odds for Cheltenham. We're going to have a look at the mares' races in a bit. But the first question for the duo is who are going to win the feature races on each day of the festival. So that's the Champion Hurdle, the Queen Mother Champion Chase, the Stayers Hurdle, and the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Ed.
The new Lion, Young Hustler, and I haven't got a clue. This is it's absolute carnage, isn't it? Champion Hurdle, I'm going to say Constitution Hill is the Champion Hurdle. I think it's a zany year. In truth, I think half a dozen could probably win it at the moment. Constitution Hill is the one horse who is a stone better than anything else if he jumps round. And if, obviously being the operative word, what we've seen in recent times. If Yogi Brisner could work the Oracle, it's not with any real confidence, but he is a class above the others. He'd be giving stone and upwards to these in handicap. So I'm going to go Constitution Hill in the Champion Hurdle, and hope he jumps round. And I hope he wins at Sutherland and all-weather maiden in a fortnight first, more importantly. Champion Chase, I again think this is I'm just not sure whether I trust Majborough to back it up. That's the only thing against Majborough. I'm going to chance Wodhooh at the prices, go in there fresh for the Skeltons. He's probably the value play. Where we got Stayers Hurdle, Honesty Policy, really thoroughly unexposed. You could argue impose a Trois in a way, has let the form down a little bit, but I think Honesty Policy, 3 miles, Cheltenham. I think he's due to run in the Boyne Hurdle this week. I think he'll probably win that. I like Honesty Policy. And then, Gold Cup, here we go again. Well, we're now 11-2 to field, aren't we? Something like this, absolute equine Rubik's Cube. I'm going to go Haiti Color at the prices. Haiti Color. I do like Django Bay as well, but I think Haiti Color is about twice the price of Django Bay. The two are due to meet on Saturday, aren't they? I wouldn't be shocked if Nicky Henderson pulled Django Bay out of that. I think it's heavy ground at Newbury. And Django went straight there. It wouldn't shock me. So Haiti Claw. Constitution Hill, Wodhooh, Honesty Policy, and Haiti Claw. So after saying I've not got a clue, there we go. I'm going to put all 4 of those in a perm.
Just one Irish trained horse out of the 4. That's interesting. Pat, what's your awesome foursome?
Champion Hurdle for me. I don't fancy any of the front runners at their current prices, and I actually thought Ponyross, last year's Triumph Hurdle winner at 100 to 1, I thought he ran okay. He was third, beaten 11 lengths. It was a sort of a pleasant introduction back to racing again. And maybe he could be value. You know, he's going to run up the Cheltenham Hill. As I say, if there was a box for none of the above for the front runners in the champion hurdle, I'd tick that one. So take a flyer there with Poneros. I'm stride for stride with Ed, really. That version of Madgeburg, yes, but there's other versions, no. I'd rather leave him at his current price. Loader Sud, you know he's going to rock up at Cheltenham, and he does like the tracks are there. Same again with it. I've always been an honesty policy fan, but ironically, he's had 2 runs over 3 miles. He's been beaten in them both, but he's run with a great deal of credit. And it's just really the age factor. He's only a 6-year-old taking on a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old in Tehupu and Bob Ollinger, so he's got youth on his side. Gold Cup, well, we're filming this on a Wednesday. You could ask me on a Tuesday and a Thursday, you'd get a different answer, really. I'm going to go for the jukebox man. I just like the campaign. You know, we haven't seen him since the King George. I keep looking at Factor Fire, thinking, why on earth wasn't he in the Gold Cup entries to begin with? There must be a reason, and that reason must be we don't think he was going to get the trip. So he didn't look like he was stopping the other day. I just can't get my head around that, why he wasn't entered. Clearly supplemented him is going to be no obstacle to the connections, but that's my negative there. So I've got 2 of the same 4 as Ed, so hopefully I'll be near the bullseye.
Yeah, Factor Fire. I mean, yeah, because he was in, and then after the King George, they took him out, and now he's going to go back in. So, but I'm happy because I'm going to get a run for my money. Yeah, he was really impressive, wasn't he? So impressive at Leopardstown, and
should be bonkers if they don't go for the Gold Cup on the back of that.
Has to. I mean, that was something of an upset. Obviously, you had Galopan back in third, but you know, the biggest upset at Leopardstown was Brown Advisory favourite Final Demand getting turned over in the novice chase. He was only third. It's a shame Gary's not here because his tip, K. Dotty, won pretty handily, actually. And he wasn't keen on Final Demand at all. Pat, any other big movers or big money on the back of the DRF?
Not really. I think we're all still coming to terms with it. The conundrum we all have, really, is that DRF was on heavy ground. And traditionally, when we get to Cheltenham, I know we've had a few ropey meetings at Cheltenham Festival with the rain and everything. It's probably going to be good to soft on the day, isn't it, at the Cheltenham Festival? It usually is. So we're being asked to assess heavy ground form. Horses like Marine National, he's better at Cheltenham than he is Leopardstown, and so on and so on. But Final Demand, he's still favourite for the Brown Advisory. It's very hard to recommend him at his current odds of 7-2. Kate Dorthey is 9-2. I thought he'd put the race to bed very well. So again, you just got to work through. The bonus would be if they won on heavy ground and they're just as effective on good to soft as well. So there's a few head scratching results there, I must say.
Yeah, Ed, anything catch your eye particularly from the DRF?
Not necessarily. It was more what didn't catch the eye or caught the eye in the bad way, didn't it? So quite a few shorties turned over. You mentioned at the top of the show almost, you said, interestingly, I only mentioned one Irish horse out of those 4 races. I think it will be closer than everyone. I mean, I think it's around, was it about 1-6 or something for the Presbury Cup, the Irish whitewash. I think Ireland will win it, but I'm not having any of this 22-6 kind of malarkey. I think it will be a bit closer than people think. I generally do. I think Wendigo's chances are only enhanced after the DRF at the weekend. K. Doherty, as Pat says, wants very deep ground according to connections, or would want a good soft, whatever that means, says Willie Mullins. So plenty of give undergrounded. And it's like that. They said we've got a lot of races, a 4 to 5 to 1 the field. So in terms of the DRF, Factor Fire was clearly standout performer. And that's a key talking point. And then, of course, we've got brighter days ahead. Well, she toppled Lossiemouth, another individual was expected to go and win, turned over, and that sounds brighter days ahead's going to run in the champion hurdle. So yeah, it was more about, I say, there were a few high profile individuals whose claims have gone a bit west, with Final Demand, I suppose, who was expected just to jump around and win, and that very much wasn't the case. So it looks like a bubble burst there, and I think Gary's off drinking bubbles. That's the real reason he's not here on the back of that performance.
Yes, indeed. Right then, let's look at the mares' races at the Cheltenham Festival. We'll start with the mares' hurdle, which is on the Thursday. now. 2.5 miles on the new course. We've had 18 renewals previously, 15 have gone to Ireland. And after the DRF, we just mentioned it there, Lossiemouth being beaten, looks like she will go to this race. And it looks like this will be a match race, effectively. Pat, what have you got for the latest odds from Bet365?
Yeah, Lossiemouth bingo continues, doesn't it? Year on year, we have this scenario. And after Leopardstown, you'd have to say she was disappointing. Of course, then again, what happens if Constitution Hill blows out at Southwell in a fortnight's time? Would Connections roll the dice? They do get the £7 allowance for the mares, which is gold dust, but was she mine? I really don't know. I suppose if I'm Rich Ritchie, I've already had winners at Cheltenham. I might be inclined to go for the champion hurdle and say why not. But as things stand at the moment, Lossiemouth is 5-4 for the race. Wodhooh, who is going to run in the race for Gordon here at the Real Win Machine, she's 15-8. And then you're playing Guess the Runner really after that. One horse I give a small chance to outside of the Lossiemouth bingo affair. Maybe Feet of a Dancer of Paul Nolan, who won well at Doncaster. She has plenty to find on the book, but I think she's an entry in the Stayers hurdle as well. So Connections clearly think a bit of her. I thought she won handily at Donny last time out. But if Lossiemouth did turn up for this, she would be odds on and she would probably win, I should think. But I would hold those thoughts until you get the final decks.
Yeah, I mean, Ed, we probably don't need to spend too long on this. Looks two-horse race, doesn't it?
Wodhooh's definitely the only play, definite bet. Second favourite, met Lossiemouth once off the top of my head. Was beaten 2 lengths at Aintree last season. She's definitely improved since then. Well, official ratings say she's a stone better than when she met Lossiemouth just under a year ago. I think Connections would be licking their lips at having another crack against Lossiemouth. I mean, for what it's worth, she's got £5 to find with Lossiemouth now, so she has got a bridge in the gap. She's a win machine. The salient point as well, you did mention, Rory, is the switch now to the new course, of course. So this is a greater test of stamina. That'll suit Wodhooh down to the ground. Obviously, she won the Martin Pipe conditionals over course of distance, so she's absolutely fine going around there. She's a very strong stayer at the trip. The initial kind of fallout analysis was, 2 miles DRF. That was the reason for Lossiemouth not winning. Now, Ruby Walsh has kind of offered his opinion, saying just as much. He thought the trip did for Lossiemouth, but I thought she just never looked happy. Never quite looked to have the same spark. And I'd be a little bit nervous about taking any price about her back at Cheltenham. So I think Wodhooh definitely to play at 2-1, and you've also got to have in your armoury or in the back of your mind, if they do in this game of bingo decide to roll the dice with Lossiemouth in the champion hurdle, Wodhooh's starting odds on here, isn't she? Because Bright Day's head's not running, and then your 20's bar. So I think Wodhooh 2-1 definitely to play nearly twice the price of Lossiemouth. Guaranteed she's a runner. The new course is fine. And there's got to be just slight doubts about Lossiemouth's had a very hard race there in deep ground, only 4 or 5 weeks behind for the festival. So no, I am with I'm with an Irish train runner. But yeah, I think Gordon Elliott's going to be set for a half decent festival, and I like Wodhooh.
Yeah, absolutely. After getting the better of Lossiemouth with brighter days ahead, so Wodhooh could be the answer here. Yeah, as you say, I mean, my little reservation was, would she be able to overturn that form from Aintree? But yeah,
Cheltenham would suit her better. I think for all that Cheltenham suits Lossiemouth. I think the new course, especially again, we don't know the ground, do we? But if it really got deep and it became a battle of wills, the new course 2.5 miles, I think would on balance tip it towards Wodhooh, who say he's not going to be found wanting for stamina, put it that way.
Yeah, and it was interesting what you said about Lossiemouth. I mean, I don't know if she's getting a bit of a profile for, I don't know, ungenuine's a bit strong, but not really wanting a battle. I'm getting that impression.
You say it's hard to take. It's hard what the takeaways are. They're on the. But if you're using the race in isolation at the weekend, you could blame the trip. You could say perhaps really deep ground tactics, brighter days ahead. That's another thing to factor in. She's probably £10 better around there. That she comes over to England and seems to have beef or salmon syndrome, doesn't you know what I mean? Like, she seems to lose her kind of powers to be, but she's very much in her backyard there. So there's all these kind of conflicting kind of tangibles, aren't there, really? But I just think Lossiemouth, she's going to be short enough here, isn't she? If she lines up. I just think a balance Wodhooh, probably the percentage play, and barring she doesn't step on a stone. We're not looking at an overnight market here, we are looking at an Ante-Post market. There's also obviously the doubt that Lossiemouth could go elsewhere, as Wodhooh will line up in this barring accident. So I'm with the second fav.
Yeah, and of course, Bet365 a non-runner, no bet. So if she does step on a stone, you get your money back. Pat, do you think Wodhooh could be a play here for you?
For all the same reasons as Ed. But funny enough, when we were doing the non-runner, no bet, I suggested we could even have 3 odds-on favourites, which looks an absolute mess on the site. Brighter days ahead. If she ran and Lossiemouth didn't, and something happened to Wodhooh, and she'd be odds-on. Wodhooh could well be odds-on, no doubt about it. If Lossiemouth goes elsewhere, so it's one of those markets where you just think, oh, we can't. It looks awful, doesn't it, when you got odds-on favourites, 2 or 3 of them on site. So I agree with Ed. The percentage call is Wodhooh, and she might win anyway. Never mind if Lossiemouth turns up or not.
Absolutely. We'll move on. Earlier on the Thursday, the opening race, in fact, is the Mares Novice Hurdle, over 2 miles and a furlong. 3 winners out of 10 for the home team in previous renewals. The Irish trained winners, 5 for Willie Mullins and 2 for Henry de Bromhead. Pat, can you give us the latest odds from Bet365, please?
Yeah, as things stand at the moment, this is a bit of a conundrum. The market here, really. Bambino Flyer is 2-1, Old School Outlaw 3, and then it's 14-1 Bar, and it shouldn't really be that way on the ratings. Some of these horses quoted in the 14-1 and up, they haven't got much to find, if at all, as things stand at the moment. But Bambino Flyer, we know she likes Cheltenham. She won the bumper here last year, and the ground's fine. Her only defeat was against Old School Outlaw when she was 4-1 on, but that was on heavy ground. Old School Outlaw has been built by JP McManus since then, of course, and she's 3 from 3 over hurdles. But those 3 have all been on heavy ground. Now, with Old School Outlaw, who knows? If she's going to be better on better ground, then look out. But as things stand, she has to come out and prove herself on faster ground. So the market is leaning towards going with Bambino Fever. She won the bumper a year ago on good to soft, so she's got the ground in her favour. She was only beaten a half a length. Both of them were just as impressive as each other next time out, but should they really be 14-1 Bar? I'm not so certain. Echo in Silence of Henry de Bromhead. She won okay last time. She actually won a listed hurdle at Punchestown. It wasn't as easy on the eye as either of the front 2, but nevertheless she did it. So she'll have claims. This might be the type of race where the heavyweights get involved with the top 2, but there might be good value each way on the day. So hopefully it'll be an interesting race. Hard to see an English horse really winning this, really. I think La Conquiera, Jamie Snowden, is the only one that's quoted at 25-1 and under, but she has solid enough form as well. So do you go with the reputation of the front 2, or do you look outside for each way alternatives? I'd be more the latter here.
Yeah, we just looked at the Mares Hurdle 2-horse race. Looks like it's the same here. Bambino Fever and Old School Outlaw. As you mentioned, Pat, Old School Outlaw won when they met in a maiden at Naas in December, and in the JP colours, she dotted up at Fairy House yesterday. Ed, who do you prefer out of the pair, and is there anything you like at a price? There must be some value somewhere.
Yeah, there's a good point here. The Mares Hurdle is priced as a 2-runner race, and I think that's totally justifiable given that those horses, there's no mystique about them. You pretty much know where you are. I think this is a bit of an insult to, not that kind of market be insulting to connections. I don't know if it can or not, but what I'm saying is I agree with you on balance here, Rory. I think the big 2 are the right 2 in the market at the moment. Bambino Fever probably on balance, just about the right favourite given the course form and the ability to handle quicker ground. But you've got to like old school outlaw on collateral form of Bambino Fino and seems to be improving at a rate of knots, but I say looks a bit of a staying mudlark to me. So all in all, I think there are a lot of other horses here who are not as far behind as the market is leading you to believe. I'd agree with that. I think Echoed Silence. I think the 2 mile one here on the new course could really suit. I think there are a few others at prices floating around. La Conquière went really noticeably left-handed when trying Ascot on a right-handed track for the first time last time out. Now, the raw form of being beaten there, you can almost rip up Jamie Snowden's winner and former winner and put La Conquière in the bin. But I think return to left-handed track to better ground would probably see her run a much improved race. So, yeah, I think there's more of a wide open field to this than the market's kind of leading you to believe. If forced, I'd go without Old School Outlaw just on the basis of that collateral form is looking very smart. She's beaten Bambino Fever. She seems to be improving at a rate of knots. She's, twice the price of the favourite. It's just that nagging doubt. If we've got proper, the Costa del Gloucester moved in and we've got absolute spring ground, she looks a huge, heavy top mare who's going to stay all day. Would she have the kind of requisite gears to kind of quicken up? But look, we've seen shocks of this, haven't we, in recent times? Air of Entitlement was a biggish price. I mean, Golden Ace was double figures when beating Brighter Days Ahead. You Wear It Wow for the Snowden team. There we go. Same trainer as La Conquière was a big old price. So yeah, I'd say I wouldn't pigeonhole too many of these horses yet. They are at the embryonic stage of their careers. They're lightly raced mares, and so powder dry for now. But if we got a really wet week and you're kind of offering me the same price, Bambino Fever or Old School Outlaw, I'll definitely be with the latter if we've got a softer, heavy ground festival.
Yeah, Pat, I wouldn't have expected there to be much money placed on this market, but anything to report?
No, not really. It's one of those races that people just tend to focus on the day, really. So I'm sure much depends on how the stable form are going. Punters like getting with the hot trainer. Who knows how Willie Mullins and or Gordon Elliott will be coming into this meeting? But it should be a fascinating clash. But I do think Bambino is on the likely better ground. Will continue to be fav throughout the pricing.
Okay, then on to the final day, the Mares' Chase over 2.5 miles. Irish runners have won all 5 previous renewals, and last year's winner, Dino Blue, is back to defend her crown. Over to Pat for the latest odds from Bet365.
Yeah, Dino Blue currently 7-4. Spindlebury last seen pulling up sadly in the DRF, but she's back in her own agenda here. 7 Only by Night, 7 Panic Attack. I think Connections might be looking at the Ryanair there at the moment, so maybe hold fire on that one. And then 10-1 Bar. But with Dino Blue, she's so dependable, isn't she? She's had 18 races over fences. She's won 9 of them and been second 7. But for some reason, I always try and find a reason to take her on. So when you've been beaten 9 times in a row, you ought to wave a white flag. But here I am again. I do think 13-8 or 7-4 is pretty short, really. She did win this race last year. She ended up winning by 8, but there was a faller at the last, so she would have only won by 2 or 3. She's 9 now. She was odds on last time out, and she was about to win easily, but she belted the last, and so she has got jumping issues. I think she's a short enough price, personally. One that catches my eye of the domestic runners is Diva Luna of Ben Pauling. She's 2 from 2 this season. She's won round Cheltenham before. She'd be an alternative. But if the likes of Spindlebury, Only by Night, Panic Attack, any of those 3 rock up and take Dino Blue on, I'd be happy taking on Dino Blue. I respect that she's going to go for the race. That's the one thing you have got going for you, and that's factored into a current price. But as I say, I've been wrong 9 times with her in 18 races, so I might well be wrong for a 10th time. But I do think she's no value, put it that way.
Yeah, thanks, Pat. I mean, Spindlebury's Connections were talking up the Gold Cup before the weekend when, as you say, she was pulled up behind Fact to File. Dino Blue survived a heart-stopping moment at the last at Fairyhouse on New Year's Day. Yeah, I can't help feeling she's short because, I mean, I'm a bit of an old stickler for. I'm very much bring back the 3-day festival and get rid of some of these races. But this looks like it could be a cracking contest. I mean, you've got Dino Blue, Spindlebury, Only by Night, Panic Attack as she turns up, Jade de Grugy, Carla Conti. You've got some very good horses potentially lining up, and Dino Blue doesn't look a very solid favourite to me, Ed.
Yeah, it could end up being a deep race, couldn't it? It's one of those. As you say, there's enough depth in here at the moment. I mean, Dino Blue, she sets the standard. She's the right favourite. You mentioned Spindlebury was far too keen in heavy ground, trying, just shy of the Gold Cup trip for the first time at the weekend. Now, she was pulled up. Now, whether there was something more amiss, I haven't seen an official line on what happened there. But, of course, that brings a bit of a doubt, doesn't it, coming into this? Panic Attack, they were talking, mares chase, but they are going to have to start having a serious think about the Ryanair, aren't they? Just given that race could cut up to diddly squat, especially if Fat the File ends up and Gaelic Warrior end up in a Gold Cup. It's going to throw that race into turmoil. So, as Pat says, Dino Blue's price is factored in about confirmed target. So, just very quickly on Diva Luna, she was due to run in the Scilly Isles, but banged a joint. So missed the Scilly Isles at the weekend. I've not heard any further updates since as to whether that's anything more worrying or whether it was just she's missed the weekend, if that makes sense. So just a line on Diva Luna there. Yeah, tricky old race this again. I've advertised the claims of Only by Night all season. I say she got the better of Mashborough last year in the Arkles. Certainly that form doesn't look too bad, does it? She's not quite clicked so far this season. And it may be that Connections decide to roll the dice against her own sex here rather than throwing her in the hot pot against, Mashborough again and Marie Nationale, etc. But Only by Night here, 8-1, could look spot of value because, you say, her collateral form is very, very good on last season. So, look, a real tricky race. I'm a no bet at the moment. There's a lot of unknowns. Dino Blue, if you fancy her now, and me and Gary disagree on the way to play this, but I'd rather back her if you fancy her. Wait, back her at 6-4 on the day when you know all the pieces of the jigsaw. 13-8 now. All right, you're not gaining a huge amount. In all honesty, I don't think. But it is one of these where it's not hard to see Spindlebury not turning up if there's something gone amiss. Panic Attack goes for the Ryanair. Only by Night they roll the dice in the champion chase. July Flower runs in the Arkle. Diva Luna's out for the season, and then suddenly you're looking at a 4-7 shot, aren't you? So look, Ante-Post perils and all that. But I had the stronger views on the other two mares races. I'm definitely powder dry on this one for now.
Yeah, looks like one of these where, as you say, so many double engaged that it might be tricky getting involved at this point. So that's the mares races looked at. Time to preview some of this upcoming weekend's action. We mentioned Newbury, a cracking Denman chase, perhaps in the offing, Haiti Calor against Django Bay. If the latter turns up, we've got Lalamba potentially running this weekend, engaged for the Game Spirit at Newbury and the Kingmaker Novice Chase at Warwick. I think Mambo number 5's in the Kingmaker as well. And then at Navan on Sunday, we've got the Boyne Hurdle, which could feature, as we've talked about, Honesty Policy, set to run in the Boyne Hurdle. And we've got the 10-up Novice Chase. Pat, first to you, any significant money down yet ahead of the weekend?
Well, as things stand at the moment, I do fear that we might be seeing a lot of pictures of Nicky Henderson prodding his walking stick into the surface at Newbury. We'll have live updates, stick updates every half an hour. So we hope both of them run, of his main ones. But the race that interests me is the 320, the big handicap hurdle. Used to be the Schweppes, used to be the Tote, used to have all kinds of names. It's been pretty low key, really. But we have a strong favourite in Let It Rain of Dan Skelton's. She does like soft ground. She's interesting. One that catches the eye is Lanesborough. We've laid this one at 16-1 for Ben Paulin. He won a race that we sponsored at Doncaster in December, and he won by 9 lengths, but he did go up £14, and he was all the rage next time out at Kempton over further. and it was a bit hit and miss throughout the race. But he sure does stay very well over this 2 miles. But it's just a race that seems to have passed people by from traditional. But one horse that catches my eye, we're talking about all these young unexposed horses. I'm going the other end of the spectrum. I'm going for the veterans handicap chase at Warwick, Lamilos, who I thought ran ever so well at Sandown last time out, and it's got Harry Adkins claiming an invaluable £7 on him. So I thought he was quite a well handicapped horse. Not normally my thing back in 11-year-olds, but I think he might win at Warwick instead.
So there we go. I forgot to mention at Warwick, there's also a Grade 2 mares novice hurdle. So we could see a potential contender for Cheltenham there. Ed, Newbury does look very interesting. Hopefully the ground dries out a little. Which horses will you be keeping a close eye on this weekend?
Yeah, Pat summed up a lot of it. I've got a funny old feeling here. Funny old feeling. It's just Django Bay doesn't run. Lalamba switches to Warwick. And that leaves Haiti Calor at whatever odds on in the Denman chase. That could just end up, I could just see that scenario happening. Not that it's much better at Warwick, but the forecast, Warwick's only 45 minutes for me, and forecast favourable for the next 2 or 3 days, shall we say. So it may dry back from the softer heavy. But in terms of horses, we've covered a lot of them. What is a word of note I thought was interesting is I did mention, and one of my outsiders with the Supreme horse called Sober Glory. Well, he's entered at Newbury on Saturday, but he's also entered in what was his original plan, which is the listed race Exeter on Sunday. But there's no sign of Idaho Sun, I've just seen. So I don't know whether something's happened there with Harry Fry's run, or whether they just had a change of heart and decided they don't want to get in a punch up in bottomless ground 4 weeks before the Supreme. But Idaho Sun is not entered from what I can see, just something to bear in mind. But in terms of a selection, it's a bit unoriginal. But I think if it is softer heavy ground, it's 3 miles, it's Newbury, I think Haiti Calor ahead of Django Bay on that occasion. I think Haiti Calor will love soft ground, probably shorten up. And it's just personal conjecture. I don't think, Nico de Boinville won't want to go to the bottom of the well with Django Bay. Let's not forget, he's a horse who's yet to go beyond 3 miles. I think they'll want to save, if they are going to go Gold Cup, they're going to want to save enough in the tank for March. I don't think they'll absolutely flatten him out, if you see what I'm saying, if they know he's beaten coming to the last. So I think Haiti Calor, tough teak stayer. Fortunately, didn't run. I fancied the horse to go really well. Wouldn't have been Fat the File, but I think could probably have chased him home at the DRF. But the ferry was cancelled, so they couldn't end up going there, and this could be a blessing in disguise. So lots to keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes on Sober Glory. I think he could win, and I said he's a bit of a lively outsider for the curtain raiser. But in terms of selection, Haiti Calor, heavy grounds, real staying type will be my selection. Finally get back in the winner's enclosure when I'm tipping the horse.
Well, best of luck for Haiti Calor for you, Ed. And that's it for Not Long Now, in association with Bet365, the home of the position payout and now non-runner, no bet for all 28 races at the Cheltenham Festival. My thanks to Ed Quigley and Pat Cooney. Thanks for your company. I'm Rory Jiwani. Good luck with your bets and see you next week.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounded Cordon Star into submission.